30 plus years olds of Reddit. What did you want to be when you grew up at 14, and what do you do now? Story 1. I wanted to work with fossils and make people happy. Now I make wedding rings from fossil and meteorites. Story 2. I wanted to be a race car driver. I still do. But now I work in oil and gas and drive semi-trucks. Once I pay off my house and have some savings, I still plan on getting into racing just as a hobby. Story 3. I wanted to draw cartoons. I'm a storyboard artist on an animated television show. Been in animation for 20 plus years now. Story 4. Well, my brother wanted to be a lawyer growing up. I always told people I wanted to live with my brother for a living because he would be rich. I'm now a union pipe fitter. Story 5. Wanted to be a stay-at-home mom with 5 kids. Now I'm gay, living with my parents, and working in a quiet, dingy office as an admin with much free time and a boss who gives me snacks a lot. Story 6. Real talk. As a 14-year-old boy, I wanted to marry the hottest girl and be an amazing father. I just figured we'd have lots of sex all the time and, kids would be the result. I didn't really have a lot of brain cells left to think of what I'd do for a job. I was too fixated on the hot girl sex part. Cut to now. I am married to the hottest girl who is mentally and physically fucking amazing. And it's not that she is or isn't the hottest girl. It's that my brain is convinced she is. In every way one human being can be appealing to another. We have a 7-year-old daughter that is the best physical representation of how much my wife and I love each other. But it took me until 30 to be emotionally mature enough to understand the difference between being sexually attracted to someone and being in love with someone. I am incredibly fortunate enough to realize how incredibly fortunate I am. So keep the dream alive, but be willing to evolve that dream along with your lived experiences. Story 7. A journalist. I'm a programmer because I thought journalism was a dying profession, and what's not dying is mostly just sensationalism. I didn't think there would be much work for me, at least not the kind I would have been interested in doing. Story 8. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer and drive a blue Mustang convertible since I was 12. I'm now a lawyer, and the first purchase I made after passing the bar exam was a blue Mustang convertible, which I traded in last year for a blue Porsche convertible. I wanted to be a taxi cab driver when I was 6, though. I'm glad I changed my mind in my tweens. Story 9. Wanted to be a high school English teacher, and actually did earn my BSED in secondary education ELA. Graduated in 1998, right when tech startups were handing out jobs left and right, taking chances on people. I was self-taught in technology and thought I'd give it a shot. Started as an e-commerce coordinator making shit pay. 4 startups later, and I am now at a senior deer level leading the product, UI UX, development, QA, and data science teams. Story 10. At 14, I kind of gave up on all my lofty aspirations by that point. Military family forcing me to move constantly and having to reset socially and educationally, and a parental divorce right about that age just put me in fuck it mode. Had no dreams, gave up on all of them. 38 now, working a decent job that helps people, DoorDash on the side. Went to college at 29 and graduated with honors, making roughly $70K total. Not upset about it. Could have been better, and days are a struggle sometimes with the debt piling up. But those are my own actions and I'm working through them. Story 11. I wanted to be an architect, but I didn't get into any schools with an architecture program. Tried math-related majors and eventually dropped out and joined the USMC. Today I work in public broadcasting. Story 12. I wanted to be a teacher. There was no money for college though, so that didn't happen. Eventually, I got married and was a SOM for about a decade, during which I got a degree for vet tech. Around 43, I got tired of working for other people and became self-employed by cleaning houses. At 50, that's what I'm still doing, and I like it a lot. Story 13. At 14, I wanted to be a journalist. I had visions of being sent to a war zone, or discovering some huge conspiracy, or writing a generation-defining non-fiction book. I think I mostly just wanted to be important, and I felt like finding a big story and telling the world was how I could make a difference. What I really wanted to do was be a fiction writer, but I knew that wasn't practical, and I didn't think it was important in the same way. Now in my 30s, I'm a fundraiser. I'm mostly behind the scenes. I'm not on TV and I don't get famous for what I do, thank God. But the work I do helps support a cause I'm passionate about. I've let go of a lot of ideas about being important, or being the world's main character, or changing the world in a big immediate way. I do still write fiction in my spare time though. Story 14. I wanted to be an NHL hockey player, have a sick penthouse suite in Vegas and drive a Lambo. I always knew they would get a team. Haha, I'm a CRNA now. For reference, I grew up in rural New Mexico and I had only even seen an ice rink one time in my life until I moved to college. Story 15, I wanted to be a lot of things. Veterinarian, criminal psychologist, teacher, government. I had a lot of high aspirations and interests. I'm 27 now, and I work in the credit card department of a bank. Unfortunately, mental health got in the way of success when I was in college, and now I require a full-time job to pay for things. So I don't think college will ever be an option for me again. Story 16. When I was 10, I wanted to be a mangaka specifically, as most young weeaboos did in the early 2000s. By 14, I had upgraded to wanting to be an animator wanting to work in animation, specifically making anime-style stuff. I got a lot of flack from basically every adult in my sphere. My mother, teachers, etc. That's totally unrealistic. Everyone knows you can't make money doing art. Now I'm 30 and work full-time in animation making anime-style stuff. Story 17, I wanted to serve in the Hellenic Army, but through the Army's school university called Evelpidon, Military School of Evelpidon. Unfortunately, in 2014, I didn't score a good grade, though the Pan-Hellenic exams that we Greek students have to pass in order to get a cumulative GPA, with which we then are being accepted to each university school. Now, 27 years old, I have my BSc and MSc in geology, and I'm starting my PhD in the cement industry with a company called Wasco Energy by my side, sponsoring my PhD studies. Definitely a completely different way from what I was targeting, but that's life. Story 18. I wanted to be a reporter. I went to college for it, realized it paid shit, and leveraged my communication skills into consulting gigs. And now I'm a Microsoft products manager at a large manufacturing corporation. My job is evangelizing tools, guiding tech adoption, and communicating with end users. Story 19. This is a tough one. As a kid, I had two go-to answers when someone asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. Rich, left alone. Which answer I gave depended on my mood, but it was probably rich most of the time. Left alone was more when I was feeling grumpy LOL, but there was no job I wanted to do. In fact, for as long as I can remember, the question of what job you wanted to do when you grew up puzzled me. Who wants to work? Certainly not me. If I were being honest, I would have said that the job I wanted was whatever one made the most money with the least effort. I never had a dream job because I don't dream about working. Today, I am a nurse. I became a nurse partly because I have a passing interest in science, but mostly it was because it was a career that offered a decent salary and at least some amount of prestige, not to mention the freedom to travel and work anywhere, with relatively little schooling. And there are a lot of things I like about my job, but I cannot say that I love it or that it is my calling, nor that I have a burning passion for the subject. It is the best job that I am capable of getting, and for that I am grateful, but I still wouldn't do it if I didn't have to. The things I am passionate about are humor, fun, entertainment, and leisure. Unfortunately, no one is going to pay me to goof off and have fun. There is no goal I wish to accomplish, or rather no goal that I wish to accomplish and that I'm actually capable of accomplishing. No mark I want to leave. I am not interested in responsibility, and I don't want to change the world. I just want to enjoy myself, do what I want, and not have to answer to anyone. If anyone knows how to achieve this, please let me know. Story 20. I wanted to be a children's book author and illustrator, but I didn't want to practice the art or the writing. I just wanted to be a genius without putting any effort in. Naturally, I am not the Mo Willems of my generation. I am a customer service representative, not even in publishing. Not that publishing can afford things like representatives anymore. I'll start practicing my art and writing. Tomorrow, I guess. Today I'm too tired. Just like yesterday and the day before. Story 21. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a musician, to sing and play guitar. Despite that, I wasn't very interested in guitar at all and played for probably less than 6 months. That was when I was 13. Fast forward to when I was 28 back in 2022. I picked up again and I've been playing since. I don't really want to be a musician because I enjoy my job at the moment. Also because other musicians are typically shitty and work is very inconsistent. I think it would be cool to play with the right people though and earn some money for it. Story 22. At 14, I had no interest in working and no idea of what kind of work I would like to do in the future. At 38, I've been an analyst, in some form or another, for almost 20 years. I appear to be fairly good at it, or at least am better suited to it than other folks who just wouldn't want to do this kind of work. So that's nice. Definitely still wouldn't say I'm passionate about it, or want to do it. Have to work to be allowed to live, so I guess I'll keep doing this for a few more decades. Story 23. I wanted to be an engineer. Then I found out I suck at complex math, became a tattoo artist, got my business degree, and am now a maintenance tech after the whole pandemic shut down. Tattooing just wasn't going to happen in my area. So now I work a really good 5 full benefits, and I tattoo on weekends. So not too bad. Story 24. I wanted to be an army officer or a lawyer. I was kicked out ROTC on September 13th, 2001, so I missed having to go 2 wars, so that was fortunate. I didn't bomb the LSAT, but I tested much lower than I was on my pre-tests. I could have gotten into a law school if my undergrad GPA wasn't shitty from a spectacularly bad sophomore year. But I'm in manufacturing management specializing in production planning and supply chain now. It's not exciting and I'm getting bored with it, but I make an upper middle class salary. It's all good. Story 25. At 14, the only things I was concerned with was running through the woods with my friends and brothers having BB gunfights, then going back to someone's house to play a few hours of D&D, and then hit up the local video store to check out some movies and eat pizza. Now I get paid to draw pictures of buildings, which then get handed off to contractors with instructions to build it like this. Story 26. Thought I'd be dead by 16, then I almost died at 15. Figured I was on borrowed time, so I didn't make much plans and waited for the inevitable. At 19, I met a girl who changed the course of my life. Went to college at 23, graduated at 27 and found a job as a data analyst. Then married that lady and bought a house. At 31, I am now a proud father. I wake up every day in disbelief at how much my life has changed. I owe it all to my beautiful wife. Story 27. Wanted to be a scientist, tried it, got bored out of my mind. Now I'm a firefighter, having a blast, making way more money with better benefits. And even though I made the career switch later in life, I'll still be retired younger than I would have, and with a full pension. Story 28. At around exactly 14, I wanted to be a stockbroker. I now work in corporate finance, but I have worked in investment banking and bond trading, so I guess that is consistent. But at other points in my young life, I wanted to be an artist, architect, actor, writer. I would like to revisit some of those interests when I get more downtime. Story 29. I wanted to run my grandfather's construction/landscaping company. He made a lot of money and did a lot of work in the San Diego area in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I learned how to read blueprints and install irrigation systems from scratch. Then he got too old to do it, and California was too expensive for me to get started. So we moved to Oregon, which unsurprisingly has no need for irrigation work. So I did a multitude of labor jobs to learn all the trades. I'm now working as a care partner at an assisted living community while obtaining my contractor's license here in Oregon. I mainly specialize in roofing, but I'm tired of doing unlicensed/uninsured side jobs. Story 30. I didn't think about my future too much. I was just trying to survive day by day. My older brother and I were largely unsupervised, and he loved being my enemy, or my villain. Because of this, my main concern in life has been survival, and I grew up fearing people. Because of this, I have not been successful in life, like at all. I've just been getting by, and I've just been protecting myself. But with age comes wisdom, so things are getting better. I think my younger self would be happy with the fearless rebuke I am capable of expressing toward my brother now. When I was a kid, I feared that son of a bitch so much it makes me want to puke out all of my guts. Story 31 60-year-old Canadian. At 14, I wanted to be a radio broadcaster or spinning vinyl on late-night radio. I loved the Dr. Johnny Fever character from WKRP in Cincinnati. I was convinced this was my future. Graduate high school and the waiting list for radio, TV broadcasting at nearby colleges had a 5-year waiting list. So I took business finance for one long, boring ass year. Since 2004, I've been working roads construction for my local municipality. Not what I expected, but it's a living. Plow snow in the winter and rebuild roads for the rest of the year. 5 more years to go. Story 32. I didn't really have any idea as to what I wanted to be. Primary school teacher and writer floated around in my head, but I ended up fulfilling my mother's prophecy by becoming a librarian. Hilarious as it is, I genuinely believe I have found my calling. I'm actually going abroad this year to give a presentation on how to design libraries to better suit the needs of neurodivergent students. Story 33. Wanted to be an automotive engineer. Specifically, I wanted to work at Ferrari. Got a degree in finance. Ended up working for F100 companies in a cubicle for 12 hours a day. Sucked the soul out of me. Career changed. Now I work at a startup tech firm in the B2B sales department as a senior sales manager making $160K a year. It's inconsistent and the path has been hard since COVID dried up funding, but the challenge and being out of the office nearly always makes up for it. Story 34. I wanted to be a scientist of some kind. I was super into marine biology, geology, and astronomy as a kid. I work as a chef now. Life hit hard in my early 20s, and I dropped out of college because I had to work 2 full-time jobs to survive. Got started in the restaurant industry, discovered a passion for food, and ended up being really good at it. I still have interests in those things, but they are now relegated to hobby-level interests and random discussions. In a perfect world, I'd be able to afford to go back to school and chase my childhood dreams, but we all gotta play the hands we were dealt. Story 35. I wanted to make video games. Around 24, I had made some of them and realized what I really liked was the artwork. So I'm now a motion graphics artist at 42. I manage a small art department at a casino, and I do everything from digital menus to entertainment advertisements. Story 36. I wanted to be a primary school teacher. Ended up doing childcare qualifications and then youth work qualifications. I've worked in my local youth project for 17 years, and I also do school crossing patrol, aka crossing guard, at the primary school I attended as a child. When I was 14, I also assumed that I would be the first out of me and my sister to have children. Turns out that the mental illness gene is strong in me, so I decided not to have children. I love working with children and young people. I love my niece and nephew, and I will move heaven and earth for them, but I am not mummy material. It's more fun being the cool aunt.